All right, welcome back, everybody. Good morning. Trade plan is posted for you guys. Good morning, Omar. Good morning, Fred. Good morning, Elsie, Simon, Mike. Good on, Tom, Mark, Aquarius. Good morning, Morris, AT. Good morning, Blood, Future, Trevor. Good morning, Faraj. Good morning, Sam. Good morning, Larry. Good morning, Leo. Good morning, Cypher, Fury, Mauser, Ike, Romanthal, Derek, Music. Good morning, JC. Good morning, Daryl. Good morning, Andrew. Good morning to you guys listening through Discord as well. Appreciate you guys all being here. A lot of action pre-market today. We shifted the POC down, which is going to change a lot of our. It's going to make my trade plan levels look a little weird. Just understand that these trade plan levels were made before that POC shifted. So these are old value levels. It doesn't invalidate them or anything like that, but if you were looking for them, they might be a little hard to find. So that bottom that we talked about on our pre-market stream, that was the bottom. That was a very good move there. So that little bull div that we talked about on the Momo here, we were talking about how the 5-minute momentum was bottomed out, 15-minute momentum was bottomed out. The 1 minute had a bull div. So far, that has been the bottom. It's up 10 points. Not looking too bad there. A little bit of a tweezer bottom on the 30-minute. Possibly going to try to recover that value low of yesterday. Good morning, David. Good morning, Vu. Good morning, Creso, Echo. Appreciate all the members in here. Roman Dahl, Vu, David. Who else do we have? Blood, AT, Mark, Simon, Omar. The Momo, if you're looking for it on the list, it starts with DBT. Stands for Deja Brew Trading. I used to put that in front of my indicators. So all of our old indicators have DBT in front. If you guys have access to that, it should be the DBT Momo. I believe it's called V.4, version 4. Good morning, CA. Good morning, Tamer. Good morning, Andrew. Good morning, Jack. Still getting a lot of bearish delta here, not recovering those Valeria lows. You said there's big news on SMCI. I'll see if I can find it. Short report from Hindenburg. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. They basically just said they're shorting it. Their short interest is 9.2%. It's not that crazy. Their short interest has doubled this year, though. All right, here's that 5-minute ADMA at 25, trying to break that downtrend. What you're currently looking at is Addis. I believe they still have a promotion going on. Let me see. I can grab the code for you. Yeah, it goes on until the end of August. So if you wanted to check them out, here's a code for you. All right, so unfortunately, because of how strong that 30 minutes, or sorry, the pre-market sell-off was, we're not really getting our two favorite patterns. Our two favorite patterns are a lot easier to find when the pre-market is bullish. The rollover tops, the 30-minute sweeps. The 30-minute sweeps can also be bullish trades, but we have been taking them mostly bearish recently. You can consider this a 30-minute sweep, but that was obviously on the pre-market candle. Morning, Kevin. Look at the delta here. Delta's still falling, even though price is in a little uptrend here. The delta was opposite yesterday as well, but it was in the other way. I don't really watch the 4-hour candles too much because they're not even. But yes, if you're looking at just the pattern, you could consider it because you had a weak high and then a lower high afterwards. Yeah, the 4-hour candles are not. It's not a great time frame because the candles are not even. Yeah, Romanthal. So as long as it breaks the level, it's technically a sweep. So even a single tick failure is a sweep. The single tick failure is a very strong sweep. It's just very fast. You have to be pretty much ready to take the trade if you're seeing a single tick failure. Good morning, TK. Still seeing a very indecisive market on the open like we were seeing yesterday as well. I'd say it's more it's definitely leaning bearish. But you see a lot of these wicks coming in on the buy side. We failed that 5-minute 24 EMA. Still holding that bearish trend. Well, in the pre-market, we talked about how the momentum was bottomed out on the 5 and the 15. The 5 has gotten its relief bounce, so it's safe to go lower. The 15-minute has not gotten a relief bounce yet, but it looks like it tried to. That was the relief bounce that just happened, and now it's failing. So safe to go lower on that one as well. This is the first time our 4-hour momentum is being lost since early August, like August 9th. I'm not sure what you mean, Romanthal. Which candle were you talking about? No, I think you're misunderstanding the sweep pattern. You wouldn't use stops on a sweep pattern. That's more of a breakout that's more of a breakout trade than a sweep. You wouldn't use stop limits, I mean, not stop losses. Looks like that 15-minute momentum still trying to find its relief here. This 30-minute candle closes with a strong bottom wick. That'll be 3 overlapping wicks here. They're still seeing a lot of momentum. This is damn near a single tick failure. You only broke by about 3 ticks. You do have a bullish sweep happening here. I will say this bullish sweep is a little dangerous. The sellers are very strong today. You're going against a pretty strong trend. Yeah, Romanthal, you might be misunderstanding the sweep pattern with like a breakout pattern, which is what people were misunderstanding it in chat before. I would just recommend rewatching that sweep video. We cover exactly how to trade that in that video. Just keep reminding yourself that it is not a breakout setup. I think people keep confusing it with a breakout setup. It is the opposite of a breakout setup where you're trading against the breakout traders that are failing. No, Sam, we talked about when that trade was closed. I don't remember what time it was. I think it was like 12 o'clock or something like that. The trails were hit on that. Okay, so this sweep here is still playing out. Like I said, it's just a little dangerous. Just be careful with your stop loss on that one. So typically you want to put your stop below the low. This one's offering a 1 point stop. If it's offering you a 1 point stop, I wouldn't take a 1 point stop. I would probably still put your stop loss or at least like 3 to 4 points. So realistically, you'd probably want to put it at least at 09, maybe at 08. But at this point, it's already hit 2 of your targets. So really, you're only holding the trailing target here. The 1R target was hit, depending on where you put your stop loss, 3 to 4 points. 2R would be 6 to 8 points, which it has already given. So because this is happening so quick, it's not really giving you a great place to trail the trade. So your trail would basically be break even, or you're just leaving your trail with a normal stop loss. Depends on how aggressive you want to be. Normally, I would not take a loss on a trade with my runner. So you would probably want to bring that to break even. But it just depends on how you want to trade it. Yeah, Echo, that's a good way to look at it. So like if something is very extended and it needs to kind of cool off, people typically say it's waiting for the moving averages to catch up. So like it's waiting for the short-term moving averages. Maybe it's like the 8, the 9, the 10, whatever. It doesn't really matter. If it bounces into that short-term moving average or that kind of mid-term moving average, typically around the 20. Or it doesn't have to bounce. It can just go sideways and then wait for the moving average to kind of hit it. But yeah, on the 5-minute, we bounced into the 24. On the 15-minute, we bounced into the 8. Looks like the 15-minute still wants to bounce on that Momo. You can see. So here's that 5-minute relief. It started around here. And then the 15-minute keeps giving you these wicks. You have that kind of bottom warning there. There's also a 50-minute pivot there that you keep getting swept. So now we have 3 overlapping wicks. Like I said earlier, watch those wicks. If it were to push up on this candle, you're going to create a big overlapping cluster. So now we have a triple overlapping wick if it can close above 21. A lot of buy pressure down here. Realistically, the buy pressure is looking to reclaim the pre-market value. So pre-market value was kind of up here before it shifted on the POC. So just keep an eye on yesterday's value area low. Might want to push back towards that overnight high. Very hard to trail this on your runner until it pushes away from this level. Your runner, at the most, would probably be like, or sorry, at the least, it would probably be break even. So you don't want to take a loss on it. If you want to secure some profit, it would probably be below this node right here. So I'd say probably around like 15-ish. Where's that level? 12.25. it's really hard to trail when you're like kind of whipsawing around your entry. It's not defining levels so that you can pull your trail, right? So it makes it a little difficult. This is all one big node. You could trail VWAP and the 24 EMA, which would be around like 17. So it'd be like kind of around like this area here. You shouldn't have been stopped out on that sweep. There was basically no drawdown. It depends on how you enter that. The only way I could see you getting stopped out on this is if you entered like very late and then it pulled back. That's why you have to be very careful. Sweep trades are not trades that you can really enter late. You want to enter as close to that sweeping level as possible. I'd say the latest you should have entered this one is probably before VWAP, so I'd say like there is probably the latest you could have taken this. Around like 17. And even then, that's pretty late. What's that low? That low is... That low is around 1150. Yep, so I'd say around 1550 is probably the latest you could have entered that. Because you would still have a 5-point stop, and it would be below the low. If you can't have a 5-point stop below the low, it's probably too late. Okay, here's VWAP. VWAP hit 25. So both of your main targets on this sweep have been hit. The trail is still holding. If you're trailing VWAP, you're right around 19. It's good that we got a bullish example here because pretty much every single example we've had recently has been bearish. All the good ones, at least. When you see those sweeping trades inside that Momo bottom or top warning, it just gives you a little bit more confluence. It definitely helps. So like we had that 5-minute bottom warning here, and then you have a bit of a bull div there, and then you have the 15-minute bottom warning there. There's also a pivot here. It's kind of hard to see. There's a 15-minute pivot there. So the Momo is definitely helping you on the sweep trade here. It's good to see that. I believe yesterday... Yeah, yesterday was pretty much the same thing. So yesterday we had a top warning on the pre-market, and then it gave you a very small bear div on that sweep. So it was also helping you on the one yesterday as well. Beautiful overlapping wick structure, and look at where it's bouncing. It's bouncing on an old overlapping wick structure. So overlapping buyer demand there. Just at the top of that zone, getting some more buy pressure there. So all of those recent videos that we made are kind of playing out together here. Okay, so far this has given about 20 points. 20 points in 13 minutes. That is not bad. So it looks like you had the same sweep on NASDAQ. Let's take a look here. Okay, so NASDAQ was a lot more obvious. that sweep is incredibly obvious on NQ. You can see it broke below that level. You had a lot of absorption there. Same exact thing we saw yesterday, but obviously on the downside. So we saw a lot of absorption, which tells us that if they break that move to the upside, they break that level to the upside, they can squeeze out those trapped traders on the low. So it actually looks much better on NQ. Your stop would have been pretty wide. That's the only downside. But overall, that is a very strong move. So where would that level be? That level is 475. That would have been like right here. So the sweep was a little bit later on NQ if you were using that 30-minute low. You had a 1-minute sweep at 455, but the 30-minute level was 75. So NASDAQ, not bad. All right, let's see where we want to adjust our trail here. I'd say a good trail would be around 24. Might be a little aggressive because there's not a node protecting you. But it's below VWAP. So anywhere around 24 to 22. Yes, there will be data coming out in a couple of minutes. So be careful. If your trail is tight, you're probably going to get taken out. It's already given about 20 points, so not a big deal. Yeah, the blue number is the volume for the 30-minute candle, and the green or red number is the delta for that candle. So I used to watch it on the 5-minute chart at the bottom, which I still go and reference every now and then just to see the 5-minute volume. But now I just watch it on the 30-minute. All right, so it looks like NQ, the maximum potential on that trade, 379 ticks, and then 76 ticks on ES, so about 20 points. And then point-wise on NQ, you're looking at about 100. Yes, Romanthal, but this is an example that we covered yesterday. This is a confusing example. So, same thing that we talked about yesterday. It is in a bullish sweep right now, so like it's in a bullish trade. The bullish trade is not over. So if it gives you a bearish sweep while it's in a bullish trade, that's not a very good signal. What you can take that signal as is if you're in the bullish trade, you probably want to get out of that bullish trade. You could use that as like one of your trailing points. But if you enter that as a new trade, just know that it's not the strongest trade. It's a bearish trade that's being entered while there's technically still a bullish trade going on. We saw the same thing happen yesterday, and that it was a bullish sweep happening while you were in a bearish trade, and that bullish trade failed. Like I said, it's very confusing, which is why I didn't even mention it. I typically don't mention those ones because I don't think people fully understand that one yet. I personally wouldn't, Romanthal. If I miss the bullish trade, I personally would not take that one. It's just not in a very good area. I believe I talk about it in the sweep video where you need to zoom out and kind of look at the levels all together. You need to see confluence, right? It needs to be maybe high of day or low of day, maybe on the value high, value low, something, right? It needs some kind of like level to support it. Like this buy one here, this buy one, there are many things lining up. You have 30-minute support. You have old value levels. It was the low of day. You had all kinds of stuff. You had Momo bottom warnings. Uh, 10 a.m. data is coming out. Consumer confidence 103 over 10 or 100.9. Richmond negative 19 over negative 14. Yeah, this number here, if you shorted that sweep, there's not really anything there except for VWAP. So if you took that, you'd basically just be selling VWAP. There's not really anything else helping you. This one looks a little bit better. The one on the high here. Because that's a news rejection, I guess you would say. So if you were somebody who likes to trade news, then that wouldn't be a terrible sweep. I personally don't like to trade news. But if you were, that setup lines up with the news. No, not really, Tom. The only time I really look at options like open interest gamma levels is around like monthly closes, quarterly closes, stuff like that. Very bad liquidity right now, thanks to that news. So be careful with your trail. At this point, if you get trailed out, you're still locking in over 10 points. So the news candle is a little bearish until you reclaim that 30-minute high there. So that 30-minute high giving you a little bit of sell pressure. For Apex, the 3000 is on the cash balance. So when you look at like your Rhythmic Trader or like your Trade-of-8, you have like a cash liquidity. So as long as it's over that 53,000 mark, you're fine. Does NASDAQ have a bearish sweep here? No, it does not. So no bearish sweep on NQ, so NQ is still a little bit stronger. Looks like you are absorbing some delta there as well. ES has a bearish sweep. There is nobody trapped, though. There's absolutely nobody above that level. There's only... It's like less than 100 contracts. So it's less than 100 contracts above that sweep. So it doesn't look terrible for your bullish trade right now. Yes, it is a 5-minute bulldog. I was keeping track of that. You're bouncing off the 24 EMA as well. Fernando, I think they turned their Discord off, I believe. I don't know if they turned it back on. They turned it off for a while because they were getting spammed. I'm keeping these on to show you guys that the trade is still active. If it's too distracting, I'll turn them off. When I delete this, it just means that the trail's been hit, so the trade is dead. Can I make it smaller? I don't know if I can make it smaller. No, I cannot. Yeah, John, I like the time and I like the delta. It tells you like how long it's been active and how much delta is on the move. Like right now, we've gained 3,000 delta on this bullish sweep. Yep. So the numbers are delta, and the volume profile is just volume. So it's a delta footprint with a volume profile next to it. The only downside, John, is you can't anchor it. You have to like keep manually adjusting it. It's kind of a pain in the ass. If you could anchor this, it'd be really nice. I wonder if it will anchor if I put it ahead. No, it won't. Yeah, no problem, Nestor. Help, I do trade while I am streaming. You do not see my trades. They are not on my screen. I do not have a, like, course. I don't, like, sell a course or anything like that. If you take a look at my YouTube, look at my playlist. I have a bunch of different playlists on YouTube that cover the things that I talk about on stream. The YouTube is 100% free. Hey, John, that's awesome, man. Yeah, it's so that bearish high is being taken out here, so it still looks really good for that bullish sweep. You did not see that bearish high on the Nasdaq chart, so Nasdaq's still very bullish as well. So now your trail would be pushed up to probably around 27, but that would be very close. So it depends on how aggressive you want to be. You could bring it to 27 or keep it below that 30-minute candle. If it pushes this high, then 27 to 28 would be the proper trail. But it's struggling on the high here. Proper trail on NASDAQ would be basically the same thing below that candle. So like maybe 550, maybe 540. But yeah, John, I was just talking to somebody the other day, and like when you first turn on my stream, it's kind of overwhelming. Right? It's a lot of stuff. Um, it's kind of hard to determine a good starting point, right? A path that you want to follow, because you're trying to learn 10 years worth of stuff as quickly as possible. I think obviously, like, you want to learn candlesticks. You want to get a general idea of like the basic stuff, right? Candlesticks, volume, VWAP, all like the basic indicators. Um, then after that, you can kind of move on to the beginning part of like volume profile, getting into like the shapes and stuff like that. And then once you have the basics of volume profile, you can kind of start learning more about delta and footprint, because you can't really do footprint without volume profile, right? Um, and then obviously you have like all the different setups, like the sweeps and whatnot, but you can't understand those until you understand the levels, right? So it's kind of like a path you need to follow. If you try to skip points in the path, then you're not going to understand. I think next year, um, my plan is to go back and look at like all of my old videos, like the really old videos, like 4 or 5 years old, and probably remake the the bulk of them, the ones that we still use. I'm already in the process of doing that. Like I remade the overlapping wicks, I remade the Fibonacci one, uh, we remade the sweeps and stuff like that. But I'd like to have like pretty much all of my old videos remade next year. That's kind of the goal. Remake the Momo video, remake the OTS video, just kind of update them. A lot of those older videos are very long. My mic's a lot worse too. I was watching some of those older videos. My mic sounds way worse. I think I was using the Blue Yeti mic back then. The compressor mic. I'm using the Shure SM7B now, I think it's called. The one that Joe Rogan made popular. This one's a lot better. Yeah, John, you've been in here for, was it 2021 or 2020? It's funny, John. I was going back and I have a strike on my YouTube account, funny enough, from one of the streams that we were doing back in like 2021. And it's the only strike I've ever gotten on my account. And I was rewatching that video to see why they gave me a strike. And I'm not going to get into it on stream. It's kind of stupid. But it was funny listening to the voice chat back then when we were all hanging out in voice chat back in like 2021. It was like me, you, JMA, Caesar, all those guys, Dime, even Thorough. You probably remember Thorough. Very, very different stream. I will say that. Yeah, loose cannon, you kind of have to. If you don't understand, those trails are about to start getting hit, guys. A little bit of a pullback here. That bearish sweep is starting to find some more sell pressure. But yeah, you kind of have to. You kind of have to start with candlesticks. You have to start with market structure stuff, because if you don't understand that, you're not going to understand anything else. Like, volume profile will not make sense if you don't understand like how that volume profile is being formed. What price action is forming that profile, right? Sweeps are not going to make sense if you don't understand levels. Like, why does it matter that we're breaking that 30-minute high? Why is that a big deal? You know what I mean? There's definitely like a normal path you need to follow. That's right, John. I remember you were the guy who you watched my Fibonacci video and you said that it predicted the high before COVID, like damn near to the point. What was it, like a year in advance? I remember you commented that on one of my videos. And that was back in 2019, I believe. Yeah, it's hard for people to knock the Fibonacci technique when it calls the high a year in advance. Appreciate that, David. If you guys are enjoying the stream, hit that like button. Let's see if we can hit 100 today. What are we at? We're at 50. We only need 50 more. Oh, by the way, guys, I forgot to mention earlier this week, but if you guys bought any accounts on Apex, on Addis, even Seeking Alpha with our new partner, if you bought any accounts in August using our codes, send me those receipts and I'll get you guys added to our raffle. We will be pulling the same raffle that we did last month. So here's that raffle right here. So on Apex, it's one raffle ticket per 50K. So if you do the larger accounts, just do the math. If it's a 250K, you'll get 5 tickets. We're going to be giving away Discord access and cash prizes. We do these raffles every single month. So this will be the raffle for August. If you guys have any receipts, like I said, if you used our code for Addis, if you used our code for Apex, just send me an email. Here's my contact email. Please put raffle in the subject line so I know you guys are emailing me about the raffle. And then just give me the receipts. And I'll just double check that you guys used our code and I'll add you to the raffle. And we'll pull those winners this weekend, I believe. Let me see. This weekend is... Yeah, we'll probably pull them on Sunday. So Monday's a holiday. So we'll be back on Tuesday. But I'll pull the winners on most likely Sunday. For the cash prize, I pay through PayPal. So as long as you have a PayPal, you're good to go on that. And then Discord, obviously you need a Discord account. Okay, so this trail was hit. I would not say that closed your trade unless you're using a an actual set in stone limit. We had basically no sell pressure there. So that level is not completely lost. If you're using a limit and you did get trailed out there, don't worry about it. You still made minimum 10 points. Not a big deal. Sam, I haven't really figured out how to use the renewals and the the renewals work. So the renewals, those are fine. You can send me the renewals. I haven't figured out how to use the resets on the raffle. I don't know if I can track the resets on my end. When you guys reset your account, does it just give you like a normal receipt that has like a reference code? Still getting a lot of absorption on NASDAQ. So if you guys are trading NASDAQ, doesn't look too bad on that sweep. They keep absorbing the sell pressure. So the trail on NASDAQ would be basically below that absorption there. That might be a little far away. If you start to push up, you probably want to bring it to around 560. Which should be below, yeah, that's right on the 24. Basically just use the 24. The 24 is always a really safe, or not safe, it's a slow trail, but it does a good job keeping up. So it's not going to be like 20 points away on ES, you know what I mean? It's going to be at a good level. Okay, that Bulldog is still playing out here, holding on to that 24 and ADMA on the 5-minute. This is that bottom warning on the Momo that we talked about. Bottom warning on the Momo, and you had overlapping wicks on the 30-minute, so a lot of support there. Overlapping wicks leading to more overlapping wicks. So now you have even more demand in that area. So you kind of have a buy zone there as well. So let's see here. So now we're returning back to the pre-market value. The overall target would be that overnight high around 45. The old value area high was pretty much right here, I believe. Yeah, it was around 40. So anywhere around 40 would be a decent target if you want to take that off as you're moving up. Next target would be around 45. Gotcha, Sam. Yeah, you can shoot me some of those receipts. I'll take a look at them. See if I can reference them on my end. A lot of delta coming in here. We've gained close to 7,000 delta on this move on ES. Okay, so now that that level has been taken, you probably want to pull to where that level is. So I'd say around 32. Let's see here. 30. Yeah, 30 is probably the highest you want to go. I'd say below that high is probably okay. You can see on this 30-minute candle, this breakout is very weak value-wise, so it can retrace very quickly. So if you are trailing below that LVN zone here, it can take you out pretty easily. So just understand that if you're somebody who like wants to hold on to this trade as long as possible, be a little careful with that. Honestly, there's no safe level unless you're leaving it at 29, which is too far away to be honest. That's about 11 points. So I'd probably put it around 31. Yes, David, exactly. If you're trading prop firms, if you're trading like Apex or any of the other ones, it's typically best to stick to one asset. The two main ones that prop traders use are ES and NASDAQ. I think oil is the third. Maybe gold. I know a lot of prop traders use gold as well. I think NASDAQ is the number one for prop traders. People like the volatility. I personally think ES is a lot better. But ES is a little bit slower. You need to be a bit more disciplined on ES. I'd say if you're someone who gets emotional very easily when you're trading, like if you get pissed off and you start revenge trading, kind of tilting, I guess you would say, you want to trade ES. NASDAQ will tilt you very quickly. If you're somebody who can't be extremely patient, and you need to be like in and out quickly, then I would probably trade NASDAQ. We need 25 more likes to break 100. If you guys haven't liked the video, please do. It does help a lot on YouTube. Got to pay the YouTube tax. Yeah, Kevin. So the older video that I talked about the sweeps, I believe I say that you really want to wait for the close. That's because at the time the volatility was pretty low, so we wanted to wait for that close to see confirmation. The volatility is way too high in today's market, so you cannot wait for the close 9 out of 10 times. Most of the time, you have to take that entry as it's sweeping the level. So the way that you filter the trades, the way that you filter whether it's a good trade that you want to take when it's breaking that level, when it's sweeping that level, I should say, or one of the ones you want to ignore. There are many factors that go into that. Like I was saying earlier today, the biggest factor is overlapping levels. Do we have like value area levels helping us? Do we have VWAP helping us? Do we have prior days high and lows helping us? Whatever you want to use, right? Do we have those previous levels supporting our sweep? So in today's example, we had plenty of levels supporting our sweep. We had the overlapping wicks from here. We had overlapping wicks from just today alone. We had that Momo bottom warning, which is another warning that helped us. So there were many overlapping signals, a lot of confluence. So if you have more confluence on that level, then you feel much safer taking that trade as it's sweeping instead of waiting for that close. Creating single prints here, by the way. Single prints going down to 33. I think damn near every B session recently has been creating single prints. So a couple single prints going down to 33. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, it's just all about confluence, right? It's about things lining up to help your trade. So as long as you have a lot of confluence, you should feel safe to enter that trade as it's breaking. Trail would be pushed up here. Let me see. I'd say 32 to 35, depending on how aggressive you want to be. It looks like you're running about a 10-point trail right now. Sorry, I'm doing like 20 things at one time. What was I saying? Confluence, right? You just want to have confluence. A big thing, if you understand how to read tape and you understand how to read the orders coming in, you really want to see those orders coming in for your sweep, right? So if it's a bullish sweep, you want to see a lot of bullish delta coming in. You do not want to see a lot of bearish delta coming in. We talk about protection. Protection we talk about in the volume profile videos. Protecting levels. So like if you have, let's say this is the sweep level here, and we see, let me make it a whole number just to make it easy. Let's say the sweep level is 48. If we start seeing orders come in at 50, and we're buying at 50, and then it pulls back to 48, we want to see that bullish delta coming in at 48. We want to see those orders coming back in. If we start seeing a lot of sell orders come in at like 46 to 47, they're probably not protecting that level, right? So you want to see that protection on that sweep level. You don't want to see a lot of delta against that level. You want to see the delta for that level. Another thing, before you take the entry, we saw it on NASDAQ today. So NASDAQ had a lot of bearish absorption before the bullish sweep. So if you see the absorption before the sweep, those are very high strike rate sweeps. It's the same exact thing we saw yesterday. If you guys go back and watch my stream yesterday, we had a lot of bullish absorption before the bearish sweeping trade. So if you see that absorption before the sweep, it makes that sweep a lot better. Because then you have those traders to squeeze out. So now we have all of these bearish contracts that we can squeeze out on the way back up. Same thing that's happening like right here. You had a lot of bearish contracts stuck there, and now we're squeezing those out. Okay, here comes the overnight high target. If you guys are looking for the larger trade, if you guys took that kind of overnight low to overnight high, which by the way, this was an overnight low sweep as well, same level. So overnight low into overnight high here. 45 target. Next level would be 51. But yeah, that is the hardest part about teaching setups is the filtering. How do you filter the setups? And to be honest, the easy answer is screen time. once you've traded that setup so many times, you know what a good setup looks like and what one of the trap ones look like, right? Very hard to teach. It needs to be learned through through action, right? Through trading and through watching the trades play out. At this point, the aggressive trail would be around 35, passive trail probably like 31. These runners are lasting quite a while. This runner is nearly an hour long. Like I said yesterday, you have to adjust that setup a little bit because it has been giving you so many points. Your first and second exits, you want to be heavier on the second exit. And honestly, you could probably even push them out R to R wise, but I don't really want to get into that too much. I don't want to confuse people. But like right now, the setup is exiting a part at 1R. So whatever you're risking, exiting a part of that. Exiting the second part at a 2R, so 2 times what you're risking. Right now, it's giving you quite a lot. These setups are very, very strong. So you could push out the second exit and the first exit probably a little bit. But it becomes dangerous when you keep doing that. If you keep getting greedy and you keep pushing out your exits, you're going to start missing exits. Right now, this one is generating 124 ticks. So let's divide by 4 for the points. Same thing with NASDAQ. It's about 800 ticks. Divide by 4. That's the maximum potential. Like I said, it's good to track the maximum potential, not to think that you're going to get that every single time, but to understand when you should be going for more on these trades. Like if you were taking this trade a year ago, you're probably looking for 3 points on your first exit, maybe 5 points on your second exit. And your runner, if you're lucky, you might get 10 points. Nowadays, your first exit could get 10 points pretty easily. So it's all about adapting to your current volatility. We have 2 single prints remaining, going down to 32. This is almost identical to the trade yesterday. It's literally just inverse. If you flipped this screen upside down, this trade would pretty much be identical. So what happened yesterday is you were trailing, and your trail would have been right where those single prints were. It came down to fill in the single prints, so basically like right here, and then it bounced. So if you are trailing and you don't want to get taken out on the single prints, you have to put it below like 32, which is a little far away. But that's what happened yesterday. Yesterday it came down, prepared the singles, it would have hit your trail, and then it shot up. We need 10 more likes to break 100. ES 5-minute inverted hammer. Let me see. Yeah, on the last candle. Yep. We'll see if it respects it. So far, you're sweeping the low on that 5-minute candle, so not too bad. Yeah, Sam, I usually have it on my 5-minute chart. I haven't been watching the correlation too much recently. It's not really making or breaking the trades. The main chart that I'm watching on my other monitor is identical to this chart. So I'm like clicking through and watching my OTS and Momo. Typically, I have this on a 4-way screen where I don't have to click through. But recently, I've just been leaving it on a one-way and just kind of clicking through. That was a beautiful bottom warning on the Momo today. If you guys are watching our pre-market stream, we pretty much called the bottom on that bull div. There's a bull div here. It swept it a little bit and then shot up. You had that 5-minute bottom warning there as well. 50-minute bottom warning. 30-minute undecided. 1 hour is starting to push bullish a little bit. What's our daily doing? Yeah, our daily's still bullish. So keep an eye on that ADMA on the 5 minutes, still trending pretty aggressively at 36. What's our delta at since this move started? We are at about plus 8,000. If it doesn't go for these single prints and it pushes into a new high, you'd want to bring your trail to that 30-minute low. But you don't want to do that until it pushes the high. If you do it too early, you get taken out. Appreciate you guys. We broke 100. Thank you. So how many of you guys caught this bullish sweep? You don't have to still be in. I think it's a little difficult to still be in at this point. But did you guys catch at least a part of that move? It is, like I said, pretty much identical to the trade yesterday. Just flip the chart upside down. It's almost playing out bar by bar, identical. You missed it. It happened really fast. It was very fast. I will give you that for sure. It gave you a second chance to get in on the pullback. Where was it? It was around 9:45. It gave you a second chance to get in at 9:45 if you missed the initial entry. So it swept it and then it pulled back to around 15. It pulled back like right here. I wouldn't have entered higher. I mean, obviously in hindsight, you could have entered as high as you wanted. But we don't know that, right? We can't predict the future. At the time, I would not have entered higher than probably around 15 to 16. This is one of those examples where if you waited for the 30-minute close, obviously it's working. But how do you manage your risk on that? Managing your risk on that is very, very hard. Because your stop loss should be down here. That is a 16-point stop loss. Are you even at a 1R? You're probably hitting your 1R. You're right around your 16-point exit, but it's not a really good way to trade that. It seems like a lot of you guys caught that. That's good. I think most of you guys in here are starting to fully grasp that pattern. Take advantage of it, man, while it's still happening. It's happening damn near every day. Yeah, so there is this technique, which might help you guys a little bit, but I don't really use it too much. There is a technique in trading where if you have a trade like this that's kind of a long-lasting trade, like a lot of my trades recently have been like, what, 30 minutes, an hour long. The technique says that if you miss the entry, you can enter the trade late for whatever portion of the trade you would still be holding. So like take right now, for example. Right now, we would still be holding a portion of our runner, maybe 20% of the trade, 30% of the trade. So if you were really itching to get in late, you would only be able to enter for that portion of the trade that you would still be holding, that 20 to 30%. I don't like that technique because obviously it feeds into FOMO. The only way that I would use that technique is, let's say we missed a sweep and then another trade setup is happening. Like maybe like right now you can see we're kind of bouncing off VWAP around that like 10 o'clock. Like let's say we missed a sweep. We really wanted to get in the sweep. It's not one of our favorite setups, but we see it bouncing off VWAP. We see it bouncing off the 24. We could enter in for whatever part of that sweep that we would still be holding. And you would trail it the same way you would trail as if you were holding that trade. Now, if I can't speak today, if you guys miss a lot of these sweeps and you see them run like this, you can try that and see if it works for you. I personally don't use it too much. But yeah, you can give it a try. Like for example, let's say we take, and this is going to be a really big example. I don't expect you guys to be trading this. Let's say we take 4 big contracts on the sweep. In our first exit, we close 1. Second exit, we close 2. Now we have 1 contract remaining. That would be our normal trade setup, right? Let's say we miss that trade. And we should be holding 1 contract. That means I would only enter 1 contract. I wouldn't enter 4. Because you would technically only be you would still only be holding 1 if you took the proper entry. The reason I don't like that setup is, think about it right now. This trade has been going on for 124 ticks. It's been going on for an hour. If you were in that mindset where you were like, okay, I could enter this trade with my runner, it's probably too late. You probably don't want to be entering this trade an hour late. So if you are using that thought process, that technique, you probably want to be doing it relatively close to where your entry is. All right, looks like those trails are going to start being hit here. We'll see. So aggressive trail would be probably around 36 here. Passive trail would be around 31. 31 is giving away quite a few points. If it actually breaks this high, I would pull the trail to 37. You're getting a little bit of absorption here, so watch out for that. Could turn into a bearish sweep here. You have absorption. It's trying to sweep the high. It already tried once, and it failed. If it does turn into a bearish sweep, your stop loss would be above the high, obviously. So it'd be a right, what, 40? It'd probably be about 45. Give or take a few ticks. Right now, it's not holding that sweep. Right now, we're in a vertical distribution, which are kind of hard to short, as we've talked about before. The vertical distribution pattern is very good at making it look like shorts are in control, but they don't work. They stop them out very quickly. It's very close to looking like a rollover top. The problem with the rollover top here is look at the POC. The POC just shifted to that node at 41. It's a little dangerous to trade pretty much anything right here. The sweep, the rollover top, the vertical distribution, whatever you want to trade, all of them are dangerous because of the POC node. We do not like to trade around the POC node. If you still want to take the sweep or take any of these trades, just keep a close eye on your stop loss. Probably don't have too wide of a stop. Maybe lower your size. So this is what I would call protection. You see how it keeps trying to lose that 40 level? And it keeps getting buyer delta, pushing it back up. So it's trying to sweep, but it's being protected. That is not what you want to see if you're trying to take that bearishly. The buyers are in control. Okay, now that it pushed the high, if you're really ready to get out of this, you could pull this up. Where's the POC node? POC node is 41. Yep, so the POC node would be protecting you. And the 30-minute low would be protecting you. So probably like 36 to be safe. Coming up on our overnight high target at 45. And then it's looking to retrace into 51. We lost the value of yesterday, generated some value on the bottom, and then retraced back inside. If it does not finish this, this will be an incomplete auction. So it needs to finish this by the end of today. Going into 51. You can see this is why people trade NASDAQ over ES. They get lured in by the high P&L numbers, right? Like this same exact trade on NQ for one contract is 3,800. It's 1,600 for ES. I would not get lured in by stuff like that, though. The P&L is not a big deal. If you want to make more money on ES, just trade more contracts, right? But that's the big difference there on ES and NASDAQ. Same exact trade, same amount of bars. Give or take a few bars. P&L is double. It moves very quickly, which is not a good thing for a lot of people. People only ever look at the good side, right? Like, oh, I can make so much more money. Yes, you can also lose a lot more money. It's not always a bad thing to be pessimistic when you're trading. Planning for the worst. Not always a bad thing. If they lose this 30-minute low in POC node, they do have a lot of contracts up here to kind of trap. It's that POC node being trapped, possibly back into the single prints. How's our momentum looking on the lower time frames? I'm assuming it's not doing too good. Yeah, so a bit of a rollover top here, but unfortunately it's a vertical distribution. which kills a lot of short patterns. So we do have a bear div here. 3 minute kind of flattened out, 5 minute topped out. I'd say if it doesn't break 45 soon, that overnight high, you might be a little toppy. This pattern is a widow maker for the shorts, though. The vertical distribution loves to take out short traders. Just keep an eye on that 24 EMA. Typically, the 24 EMA does a pretty good job letting you know when the vertical distribution is over. When that 24 EMA starts curling downward, not just when it's broken, but when it starts to actually curl downward, that vertical distribution typically comes to an end. What I mean by vertical distribution is when you have those uptrends that are just extremely choppy, but somehow they are still going up. They're giving you pretty much every signal that it wants to go down, but it just refuses to go down. So you have that choppy distribution, but it's vertical. They're doing it bullishly. So typically the 24 EMA will be like this. And then finally, you'll start to kind of pull downward, and that 24 EMA will start to curl. Then that vertical distribution will come to an end. Very difficult to short these highs when it's doing this, because it just runs them. It runs them almost every time. So be careful with that pattern. That pattern has lost me a lot of money. That pattern is probably right behind the POC with taking money from my account. Trading the POC is probably the worst thing you can do. And then the vertical distribution is another bad trade. Yeah, it's kind of the stairs up, elevator down pattern, exactly. So when it's ready to go down, it will go down very quickly. It will nuke that pattern. If I really want to trade it, typically, we've talked about this on stream before, but typically what I do is you can't really do this on Apex too much. You kind of have to do this with a main account. Because Apex funding programs in general don't like when you're constantly changing your size. You want to keep your size the same. But if you have like your own account, you can kind of play with your size. Typically what you do is you kind of lower your size. You can take a stab at it with a pretty tight stop loss. And if it stops you out, okay, not a big deal. You lose a few points. You see another good entry on the vertical distribution, maybe a sweep, maybe a roll over top, whatever it may be. You take another stab at it. If it stops you out again, then just call it there. Stop trading it. But usually it's worth a 1 or 2 attempts if you see those really good patterns like the sweeps or the rollover tops. Because like I said, when it does start to fall, when it has that elevator down, you guys have seen it before. It's very, very quick. So risking a few points here and there to make like 10, 15 points, not a big deal. What you don't want to do is you don't want to be doing it every single high, right? Like if you don't want to short this, then oh, I lost. Short this, I lost again. I mean, short this, I lost again, right? Because typically, even though these are pulling back for a few points, you would still be losing this trade because you're not looking for this when you're shorting. When you're shorting a vertical distribution, you're looking for this. You're looking for VWAP, right? You're looking for the big pullback. You're looking for VWAP. You're looking for the original low. So those little tiny moves, you don't care about those moves. Right here is a good example, right? If you would have just shorted that, you just lost. If your stop's on the high, you just got taken out. Okay, so now that we've broken away from this level, you can pull your stop to the 30-minute low or that node. So you can put it below the POC node. Now, personally, I would put it below that 30-minute high, so I'd probably leave it around 37. And if you don't want to do all this fancy analysis to find your trail, just look at the EMAs, right? That 5-minute 8 EMA still holding. You did wick it like one time. Still holding for the most part. That 1-minute 24 EMA still holding for the most part. A couple of wicks. That's why you want to give it some room. I'm pretty sure all the bots are still holding as well. Yeah, all the bots are holding. There's that 45 target, final target at 51. If it breaks above 51, that would be breaking value of yesterday. Would be looking for 61. Keep an eye on that overnight high. If you start to sweep that back below like 41, 44. Where's that POC node? POC node is 41. Yeah, I'd say back below the POC node, that would cause a pretty decent sweep of that overnight high. Right now, you have no bearish setup unless that happens. Vertical distribution still in play. Yeah, RSC, I was going to make the vertical distribution video, but then I realized I need to make the 8 and 24 video first, so that's when I made that video. You're not going to understand the vertical distribution unless you understand how to use the 8 and 24 technique. So it's kind of like a part 1, part 2. So I made the 8 and 24 video, so the vertical distribution video I can make as our next one. Okay, trying to put in a bearish sweep here. Like I said, if it goes below 41, so yeah, 45 right here, you're sweeping the overnight high. 41 is the POC. So keep an eye on this. A couple of major levels here. Hopefully what the past couple of streams have taught you guys on today and yesterday especially is you don't need to take a million trades a day to make money. Both today and yesterday, you could have taken 1 or 2 trades and call it a day. Did we still have single prints yesterday? I thought we repaired those. Oh, we do, yeah. Going up to 55, yep. Okay, so let's pay attention to this. So this is a good example of not a sweep that you'd want to take immediately, like right when it breaks that level. Because look at what it's doing. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is protecting a level. You keep seeing buyer delta above that level. You do not want to see that if you're taking this as a bearish sweep. You want to see the bullish delta getting slapped down immediately, and you want to see that bearish delta below that level coming in aggressively, right? Another thing we would want to see is absorption, which we're not really seeing. There's only a few hundred contracts here. There's not really a lot. This is also a vertical distribution. So another reason why the short is a little weak. Like I said, these little factors, very hard to teach. You just have to kind of figure them out as you're trading the setup over and over again. You'll get a feeling for what a good one looks like and what a bad one looks like. That Bulldog played out beautifully as well. The 5-minute Bulldog had that pullback around 27 and 25. That's already up 20 points as well. Seeing a lot of our patterns today. Bulldog, sweep, overnight low sweep. the vertical distribution as well. The vertical distribution is actually a very good trailing pattern if you're in a buy, right? So if you're not looking to short the top and catch that elevator down, it's a very good trailing pattern to keep an eye on that 24 EMA. It just kind of falls into the same thing we always talk about, the moving averages. 5-minute lows, that sort of thing. I will say the 5-minute low and the 5-minute high trail is not working nearly as good as it was like a month ago. They're being wicked a lot. They're still holding, they're just being wicked. So you're not seeing any closes. But if you're using the exact level, it's being wicked. So be very careful. So like right here, I can show you. If you're using the 5-minute trails, the 5-minute lows, you basically have not lost any of these levels. The levels that you are losing are just being quickly wicked. Like that one right there got wicked. That one got wicked. That one got wicked. They're not being lost, they're just being wicked. They're actually giving you like little micro trades, little micro sweeps. So before, like a month ago, they weren't even testing those levels. Those levels weren't even being broken, even by a tick. How are the sectors doing today? Very flat for the most part. Real estate, consumer staples going up. A little bit of a bounce on tech. Strong day on Netflix. Yeah, so now you're starting to get a lot more bearish delta there. So it's trying to create this sweep. The one thing I don't like about this is there's no absorption. There's no liquidation move. So your stop loss is not protected whatsoever. So if you take this trade, you're basically treating it as a vertical distribution trade where you understand that you could get stopped out very easily. You can't look at earnings like that, Bill. Many people try to look at earnings like that and they get completely rolled over, right? You can't predict earnings based on what the company is doing before earnings. Okay, so you're seeing exactly what I just said. If you took that bearishly, your stop is not being protected. Vertical distribution is still in full effect here. There's no liquidation move. There's no absorption. There is a little bit of absorption starting. If they can hold it here on this push, you could say there's a little bit of absorption there. If they don't allow this to go any higher. You could bring your trail up to that 30-minute low, because if that 30-minute low gets taken out, you're probably sweeping. So either 30-minute low or below that node, the POC node. It's a very long runner. It's been an hour and a half, pretty much the entire trade day. That's almost a $200 runner, even with a even if you had one micro on the runner. Now, don't let today and yesterday fool you. These trades should not be running this long. Today and yesterday are just pretty much perfect examples. Pretty strong bear div here. So they are absorbing the high. If they don't tick any higher, if they don't tick into 50 here before they lose this level, this sweep looks a lot stronger than the first attempt. Not a great time of day to be entering a new trade like this, coming into the London close. You can see they're still protecting that level. You're not getting a lot of bearish delta through 46. Let's keep an eye on the tape. We'll see if it starts to break 46. If this 30-minute low is lost, then that bullish trade would basically be finally over, or if it loses the POC node. they're still protecting that level for now. You can see a lot of buy pressure keeps pushing it back above 46. They are starting to build up some bearish delta there. They're definitely trying to cause a bearish sweep. Is that the overnight high? I believe it is. Yeah, they're trying to sweep the overnight high here. They really want to go a bit lower. It's not exactly the 30-minute high here. They really want to go like here, because that's the overnight high. Okay, so that bullish trade basically being closed at this point. You're actually entering a bearish sweep, a little bit of absorption on the high. This could be the vertical distribution coming to an end. If it is coming to an end, typically these look for VWAP. That would be around 32. That's pretty far away. And then after that, if they completely lose VWAP, they look for where the move started. So this move started either right around there or right around there. So that would be around 25, and that would be around 11. I'm going to go ahead and close these. We could basically at this point say that that trade is over. If you're holding very conservatively on that bullish trade, it'd probably be below like 40 that would close it, which would be about a 10-point trail. The bearish one here, you did have a little bit of absorption. Looks like about 2, 4, 6, let's see, about 14 to 1,500 contracts delta on that high being stuck. So getting a little bit of a bearish move here. Your risk would be about 4 to 5 points. So your first R would be 4 to 5 points, which would be right around 40, which there you go, just got completely taken out. Your next one is actually right there as well. Your second target, you could either take you either got taken out there or you're going to take VWAP around 32. That was a little fast, but do you guys understand the difference between the first time it tried to sweep and the second time it tried to sweep? You guys know what I mean by how much better it looked the second time around? Did you see the difference in how the delta was coming in? The first time you tried to sweep, it kept putting in bullish delta above that level. And it kept bouncing off that level. The second time it tried to sweep, you had no bounce. And it kept putting in bearish delta on that level. And then you also lost the 24 EMA as well. Okay, so like I said, you're risking about 5 points. So your first target's 5 points away, which would have been 40. Second target would be around 35 to 32. You could have gotten taken out on that low because it was so fast. But somewhere around 32 to 30. Or sorry, 35 to 32. And the trail at this point, you can't really trail this one too easily. It would probably just be break even, or you're leaving your stop loss because it has not pushed away yet. It's nearly identical to the bullish one. It's just bearish, right? It's just flipped. So the bullish one, when it first started, you weren't pushing away, if you guys remember. So we said that you had to keep your stop at break even or the stop loss, so you can't trail it yet. You can't start trailing until you push away from your entry. You saw the difference? You caught the second one? Yeah. So that right there, if you guys didn't catch the difference, definitely when the stream's over, go back and watch how that played out. You could see a complete difference in how the delta was coming in. The first time I tried to sweep, it was very lackluster. The sellers weren't ready. It kept kind of bouncing off the level. The second time, it didn't do that. The buyer delta was extremely weak. The bearish delta was starting to load up. You can even see the delta right there. All of these, this entire cluster right here is bearish. You have an entire cluster of bearish delta just above that sweeping level now, which is protecting your stop loss. And you also had absorption. So the second time around, you pushed up, you tried to go higher, it failed to go higher, it absorbed those contracts, and then you came down, right? So the overnight high is 45, the 30-minute sweep is 46. Either one of those entries is perfectly fine. Okay, so now we see the 24 EMA starting to curl. So like we talked about with the vertical distribution, that little curl right there typically signals the vertical distribution is over. I mean, you saw the sell pressure come in right when it started doing that, so it's pretty safe to say it's over. Back testing the 24 there. So typically with a vertical distribution, roll over top, all of those trades kind of have the same targets. You target VWAP, and you target the point of origin. So point of origin would be here or here. Now, if you're using just the sweeping targets, you've already hit at least one of your targets. this move could be hitting your second target as well. This depends on where your stop loss is, where your risk is. It's based on risk to reward, right? So anywhere from like 35 to 32 would be a good place to take another target as well, kind of front running VWAP a little bit. And then at that point, you're just kind of trailing. Echo, I can't really explain it too much in this stream. I would recommend watching my order flow videos. I think I cover it a lot in those videos. But basically, as it's rising, these buyer contracts were getting stuck on the high. They didn't really get any profit. And then all the way back down, you started to see a lot of bearish delta come in, which is going against those trapped traders, which is typically a very bearish signal. But yeah, I've got a whole video on my 30-minute setup, how to read the clusters and whatnot. I think it's like a 30 or 40-minute video, so I can't really cover it on the stream. Too much information. All right, we filled in the close single prints. The farther single prints are going down to 33. Yep, 5-minute was topped out. You had the top warning on the Momo. 1 minute was topped out on the Momo as well. 15 undecided. 30-minute undecided. It's a little sloppy on the mid time frames. Trying to put in a bottom warning on the 1 minute, which you can see is already generating some buy pressure. At this point, you could be trailing that 24 on the 1 minute. I wouldn't use it exactly. Like I said, it's kind of being wicked a little bit. So anywhere around like 43 to your break even. You would not be taking a loss on this. Here is that next target being hit. So here's that VWAP target. Below VWAP, you're looking for that point of origin around 26. And then point of origin around 11. That would be pretty nasty if it gave you the 11 target, you would basically have caught the entire move up and then the entire move down. Okay, here's that VWAP target. Good place to take profit if you haven't already. Yeah, JC, there's videos on the Momo. They're old, but they do cover everything. It's very long. I think it's like an hour and a half. The Momo is probably the most complex indicator that we have. There is a write-up on TradingView that goes over all the main patterns and what to look out for. So if you pull up the indicator on TradingView and click on like the page for it, it has a long write-up on it. But yeah, I think there's 2 videos on YouTube. One's like an hour and a half long. Single prints filled in, by the way. So if you were targeting the single prints, that lined up with VWAP. I need to remake the Momo video. I don't really know if I can make it a lot shorter because it is a very complex indicator. I might be able to do it in like 30 minutes to an hour, possibly. Yeah, Nestor, if you're talking about Addis, watch my first Addis video. I believe I cover all my settings in that video. If you want to set it up like this 30-minute chart, in the 30-minute video, I believe I show my settings at the start of the video as well. The main setting you need to look out for is the additional footprint setting. Yeah, I cover all of my settings in those videos. Okay, here is the actual VWAP level if you're not front running it. This is exactly what I was talking about with the vertical distributions. When they finally end, they end very quickly. It depends on where you pull it from, Tom. I'm using Apex. This is a paid Apex account for my data feed. Okay, there's that 32 target. Next target would be 26. Somewhere in that general area. Well, that was very quick. There you go. There's your 26 target. Next target is 11. And that's back to where we were. Back to square one. Back to that same level we traded in the morning. Yeah, it might be Nestor. It might be if you're on like a trial or something, you might not have it. I'm not sure. That was a very sharp move, so it's decently easy to retrace. We'll see if they get back above VWAP. Kind of hard to trail because it's moving so quickly. You can use the 80 EMA on the 1 minute, 24 EMA on the 1 minute. You could use the VWAP levels. I'd say generally most of your trails here are around 35 to like 38. Yeah, Derek, that's about right. There's many different setups you can use to kind of see the end of the vertical distribution. Anything that's like a top reversal pattern. So that's that trade already. 20 minutes, minus 4,000 delta, 80 ticks. And you can see why we like to take the short trades more than the long trades. It's almost the same exact trade as the morning trade, and it's doing it in half the time. A little bit of absorption here. A lot of bearish delta coming in. That's 31 still holding. Maybe a small wall there. Kind of hard to tell. Looks like there is a small wall there, kind of causing a little bit of buy pressure. A couple of trails, the aggressive trails are going to start getting hit. Aggressive trails are around 35, passive trails probably around 38 to 40. The bots are all still holding sells. Those would be more passive, obviously. How many of you guys caught that short one? You guys catch that short trade? Pretty much identical to the long trade this morning, probably a little bit faster. On the entry, I mean. The entry was a little bit faster. If it breaks this wall here, if it breaks that 31, it should be able to go down pretty easily. That 31 is kind of holding you up. Yeah, the back test was not bad. The back test was really clean. 11:23. Yeah, 11:23 a.m. on both of them. Nice. A lot of you guys caught it. Elsie, Ravi, JC. Let's do this. That's awesome. Pretty much the same trade. Just flip your chart. Same exact thing as the The morning one. All right, looks like the trails are decently safe. There's still there's a lot of buy pressure here. Where are we? What level is this? Oh, that's why. So we have the POC of today and the Valeria low of yesterday. That's why we're getting so much buy pressure here. They know if they lose this level, they're starting to actually lose value, and it would look very dangerous. That's why you're getting so much buy pressure trying to protect that move. I was looking at the fib here on the other monitor. The 1 minute fib is holding on to that 382, so still decently bearish. A little bottomed out on the momentum. Still has room to fall in the 5 minutes, so if this 1 minute doesn't bottom, you still have room for another push down on the 5. Kind of had some overlapping wicks on that POC. Still holding sell signals on the bots here. Delta is down 5,000. Not too bad. Still holding VWAP on NQ. They're really trying to stall you on that rotation. Okay, your aggressive trails are being hit. Passive trails would be a little bit higher, probably around 38 to 40 area. Not seeing a lot of buyer delta, but they are protecting some major levels. They're protecting that POC and that Valeria low. What are the big companies doing here? Looks like Apple's buying up, so Apple's helping. Pretty big push down on Microsoft. Looks like everything's weak except for Apple. This is very common for Apple. So Apple, they announce when their conference is. They typically run going into their conference. They sell off afterwards. Very, very standard. All right, we streamed a little long today. I'm going to quickly cover that trade and then we will call it a stream. The picture's a little blurry. This is from my iPad, unfortunately. But here's the trade that we took. The bearish one we entered around, I think it was 11:13. Two targets were hit almost immediately. This is your aggressive trail. Passive trail has not been hit. If you're breaking up your runner, the passive trail you're going to hold on to, and you're going to look for, personally, I'd say about 20. 20 is what you'd like to see. I mean, realistically, you'd love to hold until 10, but I think 20 is more reasonable. 20 is the high of that point of origin. So on my side, I entered here on that 113 pullback because that was the second attempt. The first attempt, the sweep was very weak. The first attempt, if you go back and watch the stream, it was very weak. Didn't really have that absorption. You had a little bit of an absorption kind of starting on that high, a little bit up here. And then on that second attempt, you really built up that absorption. So you built up that absorption there, and then you started to sweep that level. So then we entered there. Very strong impulse. Took out two of our targets. Aggressive trail. Still holding the passive trail. But all right, guys, we're going to call it there. Hopefully you guys were able to catch either that long trade or that short trade. If you guys missed those, be sure to go back and watch that stream. Today's stream and yesterday's stream, absolutely textbook examples of these sweep trades. So hopefully you guys are able to learn the pattern and catch some of this. If you missed them, just watch that how to trade sweep video, watch that 8 and 24 video, and then go back and watch yesterday's stream and today's stream. I'm sure you'll pick up more than enough to trade the next one. But all right, guys, I'm going to call it there. I appreciate you guys being here. I'll be in Discord the rest of the day if you guys are in Discord. just go to the trading floor. I'll be streaming there. If you guys are not in Discord, I will see you guys tomorrow. If you guys signed up for any accounts using our Apex code, our Addis code, or our Seeking Alpha stuff that we just partnered up with them as well, be sure to send me those receipts. We're going to be doing our raffle. I'll be pulling that this weekend. Here's all of our links. Here's my contact email as well. Just take a screenshot of the receipt, put raffle in the subject line, send it over to me, and then I'll pull those winners this weekend, and I'll let you guys know if you won the raffle. We'll be pulling that Discord access and cash prizes as well. Our Discord discount, 40% off, still going on until the end of the month. Code is ATAS, A-T-A-S, all caps. But all right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace, everybody.